today I'm actually going to be down here in the corner, and I'm putting in something that I'm personally really excited about because I've been wanting one for a while, because it annoys me every time you throw away potato peels, eggshells, everything like that. They could be going into a compost and break down to use elsewhere. So today I'm going to start working on putting in a compost, and you got a lot of ways to do it. The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to use these pallets. They were donated by a local business friend of mine, and these are sturdy, they're strong, and you can get pallets pretty much anywhere. You go to hardware stores, Home Depot, Walmart. A lot of times you just go and you ask them, hey, I need a few pallets. Most of the time they'll be like, they've got plenty. All you gotta do is ask. So I'm gonna build it with this. There's a lot of people that use, you can use 50-gallon drums. There's a lot of different ways to compost. So today I'm just gonna get started shoveling, leveling, and I'll run you through it. And this is gonna be building a compost affordably rather than going out and paying a lot of money. Alright, so here we go. This is the plastic I mentioned. It's one long sheet, it's rigid, and it'll go on the pallets to form the seal, like I was saying, just to protect the pallets long term. Now there's two ways to do this. You can either bring the pallets up, cut the plastic, fit each pallet, and then piece it together. But what I think I'm going to do, now that I've got everything up here, of course, is I think I'm going to build the compost. Get everything in place, get the braces set, and then bring the plastic down and screw it in as one continuous sheet. That way there's no seams, no edges, it's one solid piece in the compost. I think that's what I'm going to do. We're going to see how that goes because it was kind of a last minute idea. But okay, so I'm going to head back down there now, carry everything down. I think we're going to go ahead and put the pallets up, get them in place. Alright, so you can see I've got the pallets back down here. I've kind of already set them out a little bit to make sure they're going to fit. I'm going to have to adjust the tin just a hair. But I'm opting to go with the bottom side of the pallet facing in to the compost, and it's not going to really matter because we have that sheet of plastic that's going to run the inside. That'll be the barrier between the pallet and the compost. And I personally like the aesthetic of the face of the pallet more. It's going to be facing towards the house, and if I'm going to look at it all the time, I want to like what I'm looking at. So I'm going to go ahead and get these set in place, get them screwed in. I'm going to have to cut some small 2x4s, and I'll show you why here in just a little while, but we're going to brace the top of it just to make sure this doesn't go anywhere. But this is the start. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Alright, so what I'm going to do first is everywhere I want to put a screw, I'm going to go in, put in a little hole, and then come in behind it and put the 3-inch screw. I'm using 3-inch screws to anchor to the building, 3-inch screws to anchor each pallet together, and then I'll use the smaller screws to the plastic and probably nails for all the bracing. Two reasons. It makes it a whole lot easier when you're using 3, 4, 5-inch screws to put in a leader hole, and I don't want to be on tape dropping a screw 15 times trying to drill it into a board. Alright, so here it is. It's got 6 or 7 screws in it. It's going to have more before I'm done, but this is it just tacked in place. It'll hold itself now, and I know we're looking at it and thinking, God, it looks a little off. Doesn't look square. Well, I mean, it's partly the building, partly the pallets, partly the tin, and in the end, the compost doesn't really care too much about how square it is. So I'm going to roll with it. It'll be okay. What I was going to show you, the 2x4s. Now the 2x4s, these aren't the right length. I'm going to have to go cut some scraps, but I want to take a 2x4 and run it from this center post to this center post, and then likewise from this one to that one. Now that's what it's going to do, is brace them. You're going to have a 45 brace between them, and that's going to keep them from moving a whole lot more than just some screws. Anything to help them last longer. So these aren't going in place. This is just to give you an idea of what I'm going to do. I'm going to run them out, you know, to the edge, and I'm going to go cut them real quick, get something that will work. I was hopeful these scraps would work. They're just not quite long enough, sadly. So that's why you keep your scraps. All right, so this is what I was looking for. You can see you got a ugly seam in the back, but it's going to work. Runs out to this center post, runs out to that center post. I'm going to nail it in place. That'll anchor it even better. And then I'll fast forward through putting the rest of it together. Alright, and here it is. It has the plastic on it, screwed in all the way around. It is one solid piece versus cutting it and making seams. And it runs inside, outside, the edges, and of course now in the back we ran out of room, or ran out of plastic rather, and but that's not going to be an issue. I've got that piece up there, that extra little piece. If I really wanted to, I could come in and then add it right here, and I may do that later. But as far as a compost, this is it. Now you could always add a roof over it. It would go right there. I don't have one. So what we've always done, since as far back as I can remember, you just go to Walmart, Family Dollar, anywhere, and just get a tarp, and whatever you've got in your compost, cover it with a tarp, and you're good to go. The only thing I forgot to mention, and I'm going to do this, I'll do it off screen, but you can see this lip where I had to level. It's going to allow water to run in to the compost. I'm going to come in and I'm going to probably shave this, level this off, and put a trench so that the water runs around, because I don't want constant water just running straight through. But this is a completed compost. Alright, back for just a real quick outro. You can see I added the cinder blocks that I had lying around the house. That's just going to help divert water, and it's going to hold the compost back where it's supposed to be. And you can see I actually went ahead and dumped all the grass clippings I had left from when we were filling the beds. Grass clippings are perfect for compost, but there are a few other things that I remember growing up that you can use. Just a short little list. Grass clippings, obviously. Leaves, great. Big time, the one I remember most growing up were coffee grounds. we were always dumping the coffee grounds out in the compost. But also vegetable peels, fruit peelings, or anything left over from your vegetables and fruits, wonderful in here. Eggshells are great. If you crush them up, toss them in. Some things you want to limit, anything that's meat and bone, fish, stuff like that, maybe not as much. Fats, oils, and greases, stuff like that. If you're frying food, don't put it in your compost. Obviously, you're going to avoid plastics, styrofoams, no cat litter, no, nothing like that. The high nitrogen like that in cat litter, it's just not, you don't put it in compost. But overall, you can go online and I'm sure get a more comprehensive list of everything you can and can't put. Those are just a few things I remember. But this was finally a project that I was really excited about, because all the time I'm throwing away eggshells, or I'm throwing away vegetables that maybe didn't get used soon enough. And it was always annoying, because to me that's free compost. You could put it out here and let it break down. So now I have that option. In the end, the whole project cost us about $15, and all I had to buy were 2 boxes of screws. Everything else I either had or was given to me. So this was a compost done as cheaply as possible, which is something I enjoy doing. So if you liked the video, if you want to see more like it, I'm sure I can find more projects around the house, and just stay tuned. There'll be more to come.